Okay, today we're going to talk about changing wire and adjusting drive rail tension on a Lincoln electric Power Mig 256. You'll see some models are similar, some models are different, but this is the standard way to change, replace wire and adjust drive rail tension. So let me open up the hood on this. This wire feeder is located inside a welding machine. Some are located on the outside as well. And basically the drive rail tension and replacing wire is about the same, whether it's inside or like this model or on the outside. Okay, so let's actually replace the wire. So as you can see, got done welding here, and there's almost basically no wire left on here. So this would be the steps I would go through, how to properly change a spool of wire and adjust drive rail tension. So let's follow here. I'm gonna take my MIG gun and my MIG welding pliers, and I'm going to follow out this way. I'm going to stretch out the liner. I'm going to take off the MIG nozzle, loosen the contact tip, and this is all done with the machine off. We will have to turn the machine on in a little while from now. I will set the gun down. I will follow back over here, and I will now cut the wire. Make sure you hold on to the wire as you cut it, because wire is wound under tension on a spool of wire. Okay, we'll cut it, put it through here, and bend it around. At this time, I will release drive rail tension. Flip the motor up, and now I'm going to pull the wire through the liner. Okay, we head back over here now. It should pull through freely. Make sure you are wearing your safety glasses as well as gloves as you are doing this. And again, like I said, the machine is off. You will have to turn the machine on later. You always have some waste when you are changing wire. I like to bend it as such so you can keep control of it. Okay, next thing I like to do when I am changing wire, I like to blow out the liner. Whether you have a welding machine with the wire inside or outside, so like to blow them out, especially in the models on the outside, you actually pick up dust from the environment you're working in. So I will take a blow gun, stand back, and blow it through. Let's do this for a few seconds. Also at this time, I like to clean out your contact tip, okay? And all you have to do is just use it. This is for oxyacetylene. They're all different size gauged wires. They're basically small files is what they are. Take a size and just pick one out of random, okay? I will take this size here. You will tell as you insert it. If it is too large, it will not go into the hole. And if it's too small, it won't clean it sufficiently. I'm just going to take one and try it. I'm going to gauge it through there, and you could actually hear and feel. And this is something I normally do. I'm not saying you have to, but I will go and file the hole a little bit open more. It helps, debris and stuff does add up in these things. So I'll clean it out. And again, I will blow this out as well. Now I know my contact tip is nice and clean. Okay, so let's proceed to actually replacing a spool of wire. Some models are different. Some models you may actually spin this thing off. Some you squeeze like this model, it slides off. It depends on the manufacturer and the machine. So this one here removes very easily. Most of the time they do. Just going to squeeze this, releases the hub, set this down, and I'm going to pull my spool off. Set my spool on the side. Now, to save time and stuff, I've already opened up this. These usually come boxed up. They're wrapped up in plastic, but they're packaged very well to keep it from moisture. It's very important. Now I know this is old 35 wire that I took off the machine, and you want to make sure you put the same size on. Your wire size, as I can see right here, is actually 035, and it's listed on the tag. This is ER70S-6 and 035 wire. Make sure your contact tip, which I just cleaned, matches your wire. Okay, so now we're going to take the spool and mount it. Some of your systems, the drive rollers sit off the bottom. You got to make sure you put your wire on, it drives off the bottom. This unit feeds off the top. It doesn't matter, you know, you have to make sure you set up your wire so it drives perfectly, whether it's a bottom or a top feeding one. This one here is a top feeding one, so I'm going to set up my wire in such a fashion it's going to feed off the top. Like so. As I line up my hub, this does have a knob. Knob just has to slip between these two wires. So I'm going to slip this through here like this. And we're going to add our nut to keep the tension on there. Okay, now that that is on there, we're going to hold onto the wire, pull a little bit out, and cut off this bent end because we need to feed it through here. Okay? Now, before I actually feed this through, I need to loosen this up. This is kind of like a wire guide is all this is. Some models have it, some models don't. Depends on your model. So I'm going to set this down here, loosen my wire, and continually hold on it as to prevent it from, you know, releasing its tension because they are wound under tension. Pull it out slowly. I'm going to cut this. Make sure when I cut it, I keep it to the back side. Now, going to take this. I'm going to insert it into the inlet guide, over the drive roll, and through this little guide here. Sometimes you got to bend this up. If it wants to cooperate, there it goes. Now, as you enter this into here, make sure you feed the wire in at least, just approximate, say at least a foot. You don't want it to pull back through. So I'm going to take this, I'm just going to go nowhere where I'm at least a foot. We'll say at least a foot we're going to go in. And I'm going to leave it go. I'm going to take this and I'm going to install it back on here. And this one you can see the way, you put it on the way it says Lincoln Electric. Line it back up, put them through. At this point, I'm going to close my drive rollers. I'm going to make sure I release my tension. Okay, this is the part of adjusting drive rolls to correct tension. Now this is mic'd at 035 wire, but in reality, it could be an 033, an 035, 036, we don't know. So I'm going to gauge this with the minimum amount of force to drive my wire to prevent any kind of build-up stress or anything built up onto the motor. You want to keep the drive as least amount of resistance. So I'm going to back this off almost all the way to about right there. Some machines will slip, some machines will drive. We will see with this one. And they do give you recommended settings, which is nice. This model actually calls for about a 4 on the steel setting. This is steel wire, but it's a starting point. My idea is least amount of pressure, the better in the long run, especially if it's your piece of equipment you want to have it for a long time. So I'm going to back this off almost all the way. And at this point, I'm going to turn the machine on. Also at this point, my machine was set up for regular welding parameters, around 20 volts and around about 190 on the wire feed speed. When I'm adding wire and I'm feeding brand new wire through the liner, I'm going to crank up on the wire speed just till I get it down there. I'm going to readjust it to welding speed. So I'm going to turn this up. It doesn't matter, just turn up so much. Okay? Now I'm going to head over here. And I'm going to start the process of bringing the wire down the actual liner. And as you can see, my contact tip and my gas nozzle are pulled out. You want everything to run freely through here. So I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to start feeding my wire. If my wire slips, I'm going to slowly add drive roll tension to it. So let's start the process here. As you can see, this is not welding speed. This is a much faster rate than would be required for welding. But it's just to drive it down. As you can see, it's not slipping, and that's fine. I have it almost backed out as much as it'll go. This is a fairly new machine, so it doesn't slip very much. As the drive rolls get more worn out, it slips more, and you could feel it almost starting to come through the liner. I could feel it coming through the liner. Okay, now we're going to put the contact tip in now and my gas nozzle, and I'm going to show you how to adjust the drive roll tension. Okay, we're going to head back over here for a second. I'm going to insert my contact tip. And this just gets hand tight. With my MIG pliers. I'm going to come back over here and tighten up the process. Just a light snug. Stick my gas nozzle on. And now I'm going to bend this like this. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put, I know some people use a block of wood. I just don't like that. I think your hand works the best. So I'm going to keep probably about 4 to 5 inches apart. And I'm going to slowly squeeze the trigger. But before I do, what do I got to do? I got to turn down my wire speed. I'm going to put it back to regular welding speed. That's important. Don't just drive roll tension at the same speed you traveled it down. I'm going to turn it back to welding speed, which is about 192 in this machine. So we're right about there. And I'm going to squeeze the trigger. I'm going to bend it again, and I'm going to start to keep that about 3 to 4 inches away. If it slips, I'm going to add some drive roll tension. If it doesn't, I'm probably good. Okay, do you see how the wheels are spinning with the little bit of tension? When you understand, when you are welding, you have to have a little bit of resistance, okay? The wire has to push forward and actually, you know, to be able to weld correctly. So right now, see how it is slipping? I need to add drive roll tension. I'm just going to put a little bit. It's going to be a little turn at a time. We'll go that much. And I'm going to try it again. I'm going to get it to the point where it just feeds the wire with resistance to my hand. Okay, as you can see, it is starting to feed a little bit better, but it's still slipping. So I'm going to add more drive roll tension. And I'm going to try it again. As you can see, it is starting to resist my hand. Okay, I normally go a little bit more. This is probably pretty well adjusted. It slipped a little bit more. Let's go a little bit more. And you can see how it resists my hand. It needs to do that. You need to have resistance, especially if out of position welding. Okay, that is actually very good at that point. So at that point, this wire is no good no more. We're going to cut it on a 45, about 1/4 inch out. I'm setting my stick out for welding. Just snap it to the floor. Okay, and at that point, shut the lid. I'm going to hang up my gun. I'm going to shut off my machine. And again, this was how to change wire, adjust drive roll tension on a Lincoln Power Mig 256. Please like, share, or comment. I'd appreciate that, and have a good day.